Okay, the recording is starting. But I don't see the screen.
Yeah, I got a pop-up saying show my screen. Okay. Yeah, you should be able to see now.
I see it.
Okay.
It's good. So today let's talk about web apps. Web apps, right?
Okay.
So once you log in, right? Once you log in, there on the left-hand side you will see something called web apps. App services. That is nothing but web app.
App services. Okay.
Mhm. So this is one of the very interesting things, especially specifically for the people who are in the development fields. Say, for example, they want to develop a website. What did we do traditionally? Traditionally, we have to go to we approach a GoDaddy or approach Big Rock or HostGator. There's so many of those providers from where we can buy the website. Once that is done, you will go ahead and purchase space, hosting space, where you can actually um, be able to host the website or the contents of the website. That means you have to go ahead and modify the DNS console and a whole lot of steps that you had to do. But this place is actually a one-stop solution for all your web development needs. So basically, we're getting into platform as a service where you can host your applications. Those applications can be simple applications like just a front end, or it can be front end and a back end, like a front end and just with a database maybe. Yeah. So that's where it is used. So Amazon Web Apps, or sorry, Azure Web Apps, it's a scalable solution, right? So we don't have to worry about the workloads. It's all there. It's this platform as a service offering from Microsoft Azure, so that you can later on focus more on your business logic. Whereas Azure is taking care of the infrastructure that is required to run, infrastructure that is required to scale your applications, right? So right from buying the domain to hosting a website, it's all in here, right there. Okay. So let's go ahead and build something here, build an application. To do that, let's click
Mm-hmm.
on Create App Services. Or see that Create App Services there. Did you click on it?
Yeah, you want me to click on add?
Okay. Yeah.
Create app service.
Same thing. It's the same thing. It will take you to the same place.
Okay.
Now, what you
Okay.
have here is a marketplace. Again, a marketplace from where you can pick and choose what you want. Now, the web app can be built on plain HTML, HTML5, based on Joomla, or based on WordPress. It could be anything, or Tomcat, or PHP. So, based on someone's skill, they will pick up a particular app. In this demo, let's go ahead and pick up a simple web app, which is the first one, the icon with the globe and background is in blue. Yeah, let's pick that up and click on create. Yeah, fill up that form. It must be unique, by the way. You cannot just give a name like test or something. Nobody in the world must have used that name so far.
Yeah. This.
It's
Okay.
because you're typing in uppercase there.
Any character limitation? It's not available. Okay.
Okay.
Application insights.
Yeah.
Should I keep it on?
Yes, please. Yes. So what you're selecting is a service plan. Let's go click on the service plan as well. So app service plan.
App service plan. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So click on create new. I just want to show what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So select, give it a name, and then what I want to show you is the pricing tier. They give it a name and then click on pricing tier.
It should be S1 standard
Now,
pricing
there's
tier.
nothing about it should be or that must be. Click on it, and then you will see the various options that you have here. That's important to know.
Okay.
That's where you will see the
Mm-hmm.
sizing of it, sizing of the VMs. Now, what I was saying that in the traditional world, you had to uh, go ahead and buy a domain name and then pick up a hosting server somewhere. And so this is nothing but a hosting server, right? This is where your entire web application will be stored. So by default, just picked up an S1. S1 is standard. So what is it giving you? S1 is giving you one core, 3.5 GB RAM, and um, 200 instances. To just scale up to 100 instances when required, etc. Right? That's what it is. So you can pick and choose what you want based on the sizing of your application. So when you're designing an app for your company, then you may have to choose the appropriate one from here.
Okay.
Okay, so
So
yeah,
we'll go with one.
yeah, S1 standard. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, yeah. But I think that is selected by default. You don't have to do anything, but then click on the option that you have right underneath Create New button.
Create new button. Okay.
Right underneath the Create New button, you have that option, right?
I think this will come when we put a name here.
No,
We
sir.
need to give any name, app service environment.
What I'm saying is under the Create New button. You see the Create New button in the second blade?
Yeah. This one
Yes,
in the
yes.
second blade. Okay. Service plan.
Correct. Yeah, that's it. Say okay. That's it. Say okay. And then you can click on Create Now.
Okay.
Okay, that's just creating in the background. Close it. Close the web app. Close the.
So
On the very top, can you click on the X? Yeah, exit. Yeah, click it.
yeah.
Yeah, and then go back. You close this as well. Yeah, refresh it. Refresh it, and you should see that any time.
Yeah. It says deployment in progress.
It's taking quite a while, right? Okay, now that it is ready, let's go over these options one by one. So look at that, your website is already ready. On the top, you have browse, stop, swap, restart, delete, publish profile, all those options are there. And you're also able to see the performance characteristics of your web page. Let's take a look at the sample page by clicking on the URL. There's http colon slash slash webapp54321.azure website. Yeah, let's click on it.
This one.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So since you selected Windows there, when you're creating it, you selected Windows. So it created an app based on .NET. So that's your sample website.
Mm-hmm.
It's already ready. Now all we gotta know is how to go ahead and modify this. How do you modify this to put your own content in there, right? First
Okay.
thing, first thing that I will do is to understand how do I connect to this server, because we created a server in the background with 1 core and 3.5 GB RAM. So how do I connect to it? Can I do MSTSE? Can I do RDP or PuTTY? Well, no, you cannot do that. All you can do is FTP. Have you used FTP, Asgar?
Yes.
Right, so that will make my job so easier now. Let's go ahead and close this, and I'll show you how to create an FTP user ID and password. Let's close this. Click on dashboard right there. So you see right underneath your URL, you have FTP deployment username, and it says there's no FTP deployment username set. Although you
Yes.
have the FTP host name right there. So we know how to connect, but we do not have the username and password. So in the second blade, you have deployment. Right underneath that, you have quick start and deployment credentials. Let's click on deployment credentials and then type there, give it some name. Okay, password, and save it.
It didn't took the
All right.
username is not valid.
Is not available.
Not available. This is also not available. Hello. I will shorten this. Right.
Okay, that works. Now give it a password as well.
Okay.
Saved. Done.
Yeah.
Okay. If it is done, let's go click on overview again. Now you should see the deployment credentials.
Yeah, we can see now.
Now let's launch the command prompt and try to connect your FTP.
PowerShell command or normal
Just
command prompt?
command prompt. Just command.
Okay.
Okay, I've minimized this and then copy your FTP server name, FTP
Mm-hmm.
host name.
Right.
Let's go to your command prompt and type FTP space, paste it, and then
Okay.
remove the FTP colon slash slash from the prefix of the link that you copied.
Right.
And hit enter. Okay, it says asking for a user ID. Let's minimize this, go back to the server and copy the deployment username.
It should be with the complete name.
Yes. Okay,
Okay.
go back and paste it there. And next thing it's going to ask you is for the password. Hit enter and then type the password. Enter. You're logged in.
Logged in.
Yeah. Do a dir.
Yeah.
Dir. Mm-hmm. Allow, please. So you can browse around the directories to see what are the contents of your folder, and then
Hmm.
upload as well using put and get commands in FTP. It's your regular FTP thing that you have. The other thing that you can do is use other third-party tools like FileZilla. Have you used
Right.
FileZilla?
No.
Let's use it now then. Let's go and download the tool called FileZilla.
Okay. It's a client or a server?
A client.
Client.
It's downloading.
Yeah, it's downloaded. I'm installing it.
Okay. Not watching your screen, so let me know once it is done. Please.
Okay. Yeah, the installation is completed.
Okay. So let's open it, and then you can just paste in the username field. I think you still have it in your clipboard. Can you tab and then type? Just paste it there. Tab and paste. Right.
Right.
You go back to your host name, and then in the dashboard, you can pick up the host name and do a regular quick connect.
Okay.
That's a quick connect. Yeah. All right. I'll see that. If you just go ahead and hit connect your FTP, say OK.
Okay.
Now you see on the left hand side is your computer, on the right hand side is your FTP server. The two boxes there, right? So it
Okay.
got connected. Now
Yeah.
expand site.
On the right side.
Yeah, double click on site. Right now www root. Double click on it, and you'll see a file called as hosting something. So that is a file that is being
Yeah.
picked up every time you launch your website. So all you have to do is create a
Okay.
new file called index.html here and put your entire website there, right?
Okay.
Right. So that's
Right.
how it is done. You understood, right?
Yeah.
Create a file, right click, a new file. Is there an option to right click here? Create directory,
It
create a
says
new file.
new directory.
Create a new file.
Yeah.
Yeah. Name it as index.html and say OK. Now go back to your browser. Go back to your browser and refresh the website. Go back to your browser and minimize this thing. The browser. Did you close the AWS portal
No,
page?
I didn't. It should be open.
Where is it then?
Yeah, it's here. It got refreshed somehow. It's connecting.
Do you have a separate room or something as well?
Yeah.
I suggest that you maybe close the door because this session is being recorded and will be heard by several people, including yourself. So when you are actually focusing on the training, you may hear the background noise yourself. So it will be disturbing for you later on.
Yeah. I closed.
Okay. Now click on the
Again.
URL. Yeah, click on it. So it should give you nothing, right? There's nothing in index.html, so there's nothing there.
Yes.
Right? Awesome. So that works. All right. So let's go back to the dashboard and take a look at other options. So there's deployment credentials is something that you did. Go back to deployment slots. There's something called as deployment slots. So what is that? What does deployment slots mean? So when you deploy your web app, you would like to deploy it in separate environments. Number one is a production environment, and maybe other is a staging environment. So you can deploy the app into two, and then as and when you want, you can swap between production and stage. So that is actually eliminating the downtime when you deploy an app. The traffic redirection is very much seamless, and no requests are being dropped as a result of swap operation.
Okay.
So you can just swap between production and stage, create multiple of them, and then you can swap between them, between prod and then stage as well, between multiple deployments. Okay, do you understand that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and do that actually. Click on add a slot. Right. Give it a name. Give the name it as the source is, let's say, you see configuration source. Um, let's say, what are the options? Don't clone configuration from an existing slot. Okay, we don't have any configuration setting, so let's just select that. Do not clone it and say okay.
Not clone.
Yeah,
Okay.
say okay. In some time you should that see that up and running in some time. Yeah, click on it. Click on that. It is running. Now you will see new blades opening up and it has its own configuration. So you can start deploying the pages here for this deployment slot, which is slot 7786. So let's go ahead and try to browse this. Can you click on browse for this one?
Oh, on the browse button.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You click on browse or click on
Same, right?
URL. It's the same thing. So
Okay.
yeah, this is what your new app is, right? Let's close it.
Correct.
Yeah, let's close it. Right. And now what we're gonna do is to modify that page so that it shows some content. I really want to show you the prod and stage swapping. Okay. So scroll down
Okay.
scroll down to the bottom, very bottom here, scroll down on the left side of the blade, scroll down to the very bottom, and then I'm going to show you something, a place where you can really make things easier. Where is that? Scroll up a little bit. We don't have it here. API testing. Yeah. So you see that app service editor preview. Click on app service editor
Correct.
preview. Yeah. And then click on go. So instead of you going to the FTP and modifying the page, uploading your HTML content, you can directly click on go and modify things live on the fly. Let's see how that happens. Awesome. So click on www, and by now you have understood that it is just giving me same FTP thing, but in a
Right.
in a browser format, right? Click on www.
Yes, we
Click
see the
on
same for.
Right. Click on
Yeah.
www. Just keep your mouse over there. You will see on the right side there are some small icons. Click on the first one. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
creating a new page. Click on it. Type the name as index.html. Index.html. Hit enter and let it settle down. Awesome. Now here type something as stage, S-T-A-G-E. Actually, you can type your entire HTML code here. Yeah, I would leave that to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can just copy and paste all the HTML code that you have. Maybe I'll leave that to you for further experimentation, where you can copy and paste the code from W3 schools like we did yesterday for load balancers,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You can copy and paste the whole HTML code. So let's close it. You're done here. Let's close it.
Close the window itself.
Please, yes, yes,
Okay.
and then scroll up and then click on browse overview, and then click on browse to see what happens. Right,
Yes.
right. Now
Yeah.
let's go back, close it. All right. Now we are in one of the slots, which is slot 7786. Let's close this also. And from the top right hand side, right underneath your name, yeah, close that. And we are now back to web app. Now let's create a new slot. Right. Mm-hmm. Right, good. Now here, you can pick up anything. If you select do not clone
Mm-hmm.
configuration, it will give you a default page. But click on the drop
Mm-hmm.
down there, please. Click on the drop down, right? You can select anything. If you select do not clone, it will give you a default page. If you select one of those, it will pick that particular app, right? So select your
Yeah.
slot 7786, because let's go ahead and clone that, and that will then become the source. And then say OK. So whatever HTML content the website you have is then copied to the new slot. But then we'll go ahead and modify the page and see how the swapping works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now
We
that it
got
is
the second
created,
slot.
click on it, and then let's do the same thing. Scroll down to the bottom, and then something called as preview. Yeah, application.
Editor.
Right. Click on that and go, and you know what to do. Modify this. So I think your deployment is still in progress, right?
The
Because flagged
swap
it.
is completed.
Okay, okay. Let's
It's completed.
okay. Let's click on browse. So that's it, right? So
Right.
the changes have made in
Yes.
your production now,
Yeah.
which is good. So let's click on deployment options.
So why are we switching between the slots? Is that something like if we have maintenance on the first site, we'll select the swap here and then do the maintenance on that?
No.
Why are we doing?
Let's say your production website is on the main thing, and then there's another
Mhm.
team who's deploying or maybe upgrading your website to new content.
Okay.
To upgrade to the new content, if you have to publish to the new content, you have to keep the older content plus the new content as well. So here I'm
Hmm.
swapping between older content and the new content, and you want to see how the website looks like in production.
Hmm. Okay.
So you're
Okay.
swapping between stage and prod, and the prod then becomes stage.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, let's take a look at that further. What do we have? Deployment options. So usually, no, you do not keep the source in your site. So how much of space this machine is giving you, like 100 GB or something? Maybe, I don't know, whatever the service plan or service tier we have selected. He may not be giving you all the space in the world, right? But at times you
Yeah.
may have to keep a lot of information like videos, pictures. So at that time our service plan may not be sufficient. So you want to keep all your information somewhere else, but then host the website here because of lot of information and lot of service offerings, the options that Azure gives you. So let me keep the source somewhere else, but the content will be delivered through Azure Web App because of various scalability options that Azure gives you, right? So that's what deployment options tells you, that you can keep the source somewhere else. So click on choose source, and then you will see the various options that you have. So you can keep the source in SkyDrive, OneDrive, Dropbox. Keep your source in GitHub. Keep your source in uh, Bitbucket or local repositories or anything. So your website's information will be picked up from GitHub or any third-party repositories that you got. You can also have your own repository and then give the repository's name there in the last option, external repository. So you're keeping your pictures, videos,
Yeah.
HTML content and everything somewhere else, but then that information will be streamed by the web app service that is in Azure. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go close this one and then pick up the next option that you have. This continuous delivery. Now this is the buzzword these days: continuous delivery, continuous uh, integration, CI/CD. Right? You might have heard of these terms: continuous delivery, continuous integration with other tools. So that again, it's in preview, as the name itself says. It is not to be used in production purposes. But if you're using in a third-party tools like Chef or Puppet, you can do continuous delivery with the help of this. So you are automatically generating a CI/CD pipeline here. CI/CD, just continuous integration and continuous delivery aspects of Azure. Like websites like Quora and Netflix, they are continuously
Hmm.
updating their websites. Um, the the minimum time, in fact, Netflix updates its content on the websites every 6 minutes. So if it really has to be that quick, then they have to use automation there. So setting up the continuous delivery is a four-step wizard here. So in the first step, you will be asked to pick up where is your source code. It could be in your GitHub or it could be in your Visual Studio Team Service, something. So currently, Azure is supporting Visual Studio Term Services and GitHub. Let's click on Configure. You may see all of those options. Right, so here are the four steps. Select the source code, build, test, deploy. So you are selecting Visual Studio Team Service. In the drop down, you may have one more. Oh, you got two more. It's a lot of operation. GitHub, you can put external Gits or local Gits. you're just telling where your information is. And in the build section, you're then telling how to build it, right? Is that with
Right.
ASP.NET or PHP or what is it? And finally, after testing it, you deploy to a particular environment, whether you want to deploy to staging or which slot you want to deploy. That's what you'll get in the deploy option. So there's a full end-to-end automation being done here. So you don't have to worry about going through each of those steps. It's a continuous delivery process.
Right.
Okay, it's pretty neat integration there. You can look at application settings. Click on application settings, and you will see all the settings for this particular web app, right? So at times you may want applications to be integrated tightly with Microsoft applications, but then Microsoft applications, they themselves are not compatible with each version of .NET. So you may have to select a particular version compatibility here. So is your application built on .NET or PHP or Java? So you're selecting those versions here. Is it compatible with 64-bit or 32-bit? So these are certain things that you're selecting as far as settings are concerned. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. The next part is the authorization and accounting. Authorization, yeah, authorization and authentication. So at times you may be building web apps, right, or APIs that may need authentication, where specifically for a mobile app. So you're building mobile app here. You may need authentication and authorization. So you may have to implement like OAuth 2 or OpenID Connect, right? So when you need authentication from external apps or a mobile app, you will do this. Uh, it
Mm-hmm.
currently is supporting authentication from other third-party providers like Azure Active Directory is within itself, but other third parties like Facebook, Google, Twitter, and also Microsoft accounts. So click on that, you'll see those options. But yeah, so it is giving you all
Yeah.
those options. So do you want a federation from them? Is what it is asking. So if your app actually requires authentication and authorization, all you have to do is select one of those, and uh, there you have allow anonymous requests. There you take no action, but let's see what we have in the drop down menu. You'll see something like login with Azure Active Directory. Yeah, so it's a login.
Yeah.
Do you want to log in with Azure Directory or log in with Azure Facebook or Google or Microsoft account? Now they got Twitter as well. So you can select, pick and choose what you want into your application. Do you understand this?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is a platform as a service. It's a platform as a service, and hence you don't have to worry about any backups, right? But whether to take backups or not is your responsibility. So in the backup section, you select whether you want backups or not. Oops, we lost the whole thing. Okay.
I'll
Sadik,
go back again.
you
Yes, Anand.
following me, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
So we are here at backups.
Right. Correct. So yeah, so in backups, especially in platform as a service, it is the vendor who takes responsibility of taking backups. But whether you want to take a backup or not, Microsoft will not know. So you have to say, hey, I want to take a backup of it. What is my retention period? How often do you want to take a backup? It's all something that you have to set up, right? So you click on configure and then say, hey, I want to take a backup on Monday, Sunday, Tuesday, and my retention period is this, and here are my backup policies. So you set all of that up here. Okay? Click on schedule backup on and you will see all those options. Right, right.
Right.
Every day, hours, when do you want to take backups, what time zone, retention period, right?
Okay.
Okay. Select custom domains. Now the domain that we are getting here is extends or you select something like Azure Websites.net. That is your website name. But then let's say you want your own website like www.myproducts.com, you have to purchase it. And traditionally we used to purchase it from GoDaddy or Big Rock or someone, right? Well, here we don't have to do that. You can purchase it right from here. So you click on buy domain
Mhm.
and then you do the purchasing. Once that is done, the IP address of this website is automatically allocated to your domain. You just have to modify some of the C names, records, and things like that in the DNS, and you're good to go. Your new domain name will
Okay.
be automatically linked with the web app. So whatever you build here will be linked up with myproducts.com,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if it's an e-commerce website,
Okay.
if it's an e-commerce website, you may need SSL certificate, or anywhere where you think confidentiality is a key confidentiality is the key for any transactions, and you have to upload SSL certificates there, right? So that's there in the SSL section, SSL certificate section. So you can upload your own certificates. Is that okay? Does it sound good?
Yes.
Let's get into the networking section of it. Well, we understand that the whole thing is on public. It's on the public domain. But at times you may have to integrate your application with certain applications in your private network. Let's click on networking.
Yeah. Before that, one question. So the SSL certificate we upload here, is this goes to our custom domains if we are creating anything, or to the FTP or the main web app?
FTP. In custom domains, you're just
This
buying a
goes to
name.
the. Okay.
In custom domains, you're only buying the name, not the server. You don't
No.
need to buy a server.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a public domain by itself. The Azure Websites.net, it's all there on the internet. But let's say you gotta integrate with your applications which are on your uh, virtual network within your office, right? Or you may have your databases, a platform as a service databases in Azure in a different VNet. That you may have to integrate the web app with a particular VNet, right? So this is where your networking section comes up and says that hey, you can now connect the public domain network with your private infrastructure. And if you have a database in your private infrastructure that can then talk to your website, if you have created a private tunnel between these two, that is possible with VNet integration.
Mm-hmm.
The hybrid connections lets you connect on-premise database with the Azure Web Apps. Does that make sense? No? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. The other part is scale up. Let's click on scale up. So right now we just selected 1 core and 3.5 GB RAM. You can always change those plans anytime. That's what scale up is all about. You can just go ahead and change it and click on something and it will change. So when the resources are not sufficient, then you can increase the resources by scaling up. And during non-production hours, you can scale down. And you pay for only what you use.
Right. Where does it show which which particular configuration we are now?
It doesn't show here. I think the one that you have selected itself is the configuration that you have now, but then it should be there in the overview. If you click on overview, yeah, right there, service plan, see, standard one small, S1 small.
Service plan.
App service plan provisioning tier, second from the top right hand side. Yeah, that's it.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So that is scale out. Scale up, sorry. Then you have the scale out as well. Where in scale up, you have to be prepared manually. But here in scale out, you have to set up certain thresholds. Let's say your website is upon tremendous pressure, and the CPU on that machine is going really high, and then you want to scale up automatically, because in the middle of night you don't want to wake up and say that, hey, let me go from small to premium, right, or standard to premium. That should happen automatically, and that is done only if you enable automatic scaling. So click on that and you'll get a lot of other options. Click on it. Okay, so here
I mean, Anand, are you able to see the screen? I'm not able to see. I mean, like it's frozen.
I can see the screen. Asghar is doing exactly what I want.
No?
Maybe you can, I don't know. All right, so we are in the auto scaling part of it. Here you say how many machines do you want? Minimum number of machines. You're defining how many machines should be operating at the minimum. So minimum number of machines that I want is 1. Put maximum as, let's say, 5. Let's say 5. So your scaling out will happen till 5 machines. When do you want it to scale out? So you have to write a rule there, right? Click on add a rule. Click on add a rule, and then you'll see a new blade opening up. And this is where you can write a rule and say that when my average CPU utilization, look at that right there in the criteria section, in the criteria. No. Criteria, yeah. So when the average CPU
Yes.
utilization is greater than 70% for consecutively 10 minutes, what do you want to do? You want to take an action. And that action is increase the number of machines by 1.
1.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it means. So you can change the
Right.
metrics as well. So right now the default metric is CPU percentage. But if you click on the drop down, there are a lot of other metrics that you can select. It's on memory, disk high, disk in, disk out. There's so many options there, right? But default is CPU utilization. The last option, which is cooldown period, which is, it says 5 minutes. That means that once the machine is scaled out, you don't want to scale out again and again. The CPU may be still at 70%, but you do not want scale out to happen, because when a new machine is created, it will take some time to settle down. So you're writing that time here and saying that the cooldown period is 5 minutes, and the whole scaling thing pauses for some time, and that time is 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, if the CPU is still 70%, it creates a new VM. And how many it can create like that? 5. Because
Up to
5
5.
is the maximum limit that you have defined there.
Right.
Do you want to think about it? Any questions? Okay, let's move forward. There's something called as web jobs. Web jobs. Web jobs is nothing but like a background task that you can run, right? So you can run programs or scripts in the web jobs that can be done on demand or continuously or on schedule. There's no additional cost to the web jobs that you are doing. So you can create web jobs, and they can be like command or CMD based or batch files or PowerShell scripts or shell scripts or Bash, Python, PHP, Node, Java, jar files. Anything is accepted here. So web jobs are nothing but background activities that you may want to do. Okay, you can run the jobs
Right.
on demand. Let's click on one and I'll show you. Let's click on add. Yeah, see, there's a file that you can upload and say that uh, it goes to a particular path and then runs it. In the type, you can say trigger it based on certain action or run it continuously regardless. You want to scale. You got so many options here, right?
Right.
That's what web jobs is. Basically, web jobs is what is running background tasks with certain activities or a
Mhm.
script that you may just go ahead and upload there. Okay. Okay. Then there is push. A push is nothing but a notification. Push is nothing but a notification that can be sent to users based on certain activity. But you have to connect to your notification app. So it is integrating with another service called as notification hubs so that it can then send uh, notifications. Let's click on MySQL to app, MySQL in app. So here now you're bringing in your databases. If you want to integrate with any applications or in a database, you can bring in your MySQL app within the service. Click on MySQL in app, click on. And then you get several other options like what is the name of your database instance, what is the name of the storage, where do you want to keep this information. So now your web app will be a two-tier application. Number one will be web app itself. Second is the database, which is MySQL. Okay, are we good so far? Okay, let's click on properties. And then properties are regular properties where you will be able to see the web app properties like FTP deployment username, what is a link. Look at this is interesting for the outbound IP addresses, right? Here, these are the IP addresses for your web app. So if you would like to allow and deny on the firewall, you can pick up these IP addresses for to allow it. You see other options like FTP deployment username, host name, various logs where you can find, right? Locks is like protection from accidental deletion, regular locks that you have. Locks. You're aware about these three things. Properties, locks, and automation script is in every service that you see, or every service offering from Azure. It's just protecting against accidental deletion. Then the automation script is about automating things. So you can just copy the whole script and you will see scripts in various languages like PowerShell, .NET, Java, Ruby. You'll see all languages right there. So if you're comfortable with one of those languages, you can pick and choose, customize it, and redeploy in case of repeatable deployments. Right? See, you see PowerShell, .NET, Ruby, Azure CLI is also there. Then there is app service plan. You can change the plan. So initially, remember when we were creating the web app, we created the app service in South America, South Central America,
Right.
right? So you can always change the service plan anytime. And then here, looking at the options, how much of file size I have, basically looking at your server statistics.
Okay.
Let's close it. Quotas. So you're defining the limits here. So you can monitor the Azure App Service that includes, so you can review the quotas and metrics for the app. So Azure applications that are hosted in App Service are of course subjected to certain limits. So the limits are defined in the App Service plan. So this is where you can see. So if the application is hosted in a free or a shared plan, then the limits of the resources the app can be used are defined in the quotas. What are the limits of my service plan that I've selected? Is it basic, standard, premium? What is the CPU? What is the bandwidth? What is the file system that I'm using? Okay, and then you can change the app service plan if you would really like to scale up. You can clone the entire app in the development tools. You can say clone the entire app, so just in case you want to um, do any changes to your production environment, then it's rather keep the clone of it. So any changes that are done in the production are always safe. And it appears that it is not available in the standard plans or the plans that you have selected, so you have to upgrade the service plan for this. Console. Click on console, and then you will see a screen that's similar to the FTP screen. So it directly connects to your FTP and then gives you a screen like that. So you can take a look at the options that are available here. So all your command lines will work right here. Like you can do dir works here, dir enter, right? It works here. You can also navigate to directories using cd. Look at that, index.html is right there, right? So the best part is that you can control it from your phone as well. So all you have to do is go to the browser, go to the console, and look at the settings right from your phone, because you don't have to FTP right there, right? Click on Advanced Tools, then that's prominently used for debugging and debugging information. Since they have integrated with a third-party tool, click on Go. So it takes you to another website called as Kudo, right? It tells you more statistics about your web app. You can debug and look at various other options that a usual web app doesn't give, or Amazon or Azure is not giving you here. Right, so this is Kudo. So where you have various options here. This itself is a big tool in itself. You can click on Process Explorer, Tools, and Site Extensions. Um, yeah, click on Process Explorer to see. So if there are any performance hits on the website, the website is not behaving properly, so you can either go to the monitoring aspects, and then it gives you just like the task manager of your server. This is Process Explorer, right? So which of the service is consuming most of your CPU, say? Click on tools, then you can also get a dump of it, memory dump of your entire server right from here. So diagnostics, dumps, log, stream, webhooks, and download the whole deployment script, right? Click on debug console, then you should see two options on the left side. Debug console like PowerShell, yeah. Click on one of them, PowerShell or CMD. So it gives you a console kind of interface. See, you can type the commands right there. You can navigate to this folder with a click of it. Click on site. So it's giving you a GUI plus a command line. So this is a real screen. You can type the commands there and uh, execute your commands there, right? Is it good so far?
Yeah, Anand. So is this Kudu service is free
Yeah,
for diagnostics?
yeah. It's all part of your service plan.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Mhm. Let's close it and go back to the web app then. If you scroll down, we already seen preview, app service preview, right? We have already seen that, the preview section
Yes.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of them are all more about troubleshooting things. Your resource explorer, testing, performance test. You can put some load on the server and see how that behaves in the performance test. Um,
Mm-hmm.
right. It will not bring anything now, but you have to create a new one probably. Yeah, create a new one, and then you'll see that you can put some stress testing there. Right. So you can generate a load there, see? Generate a load from which country, from which location, and how many users of load do you want to put? What is the duration? And you can just test it when you're actually playing around the whole web app. You can test it and then see the CPU graphs. Then you will know that your service plan is fit for deployment or not.
Okay.
Yeah. In the mobile section, it's more about integrating that with your mobile apps. Another kind of database that you're doing. In API definitions again about development again, where you are developing with .NET or Java or Ruby on Rails. So if you want to deploy with that, that's where the API comes into picture. And you can monitor your website using application insights. Insights itself a world on its own, right? It itself is a new service offering, and there are certain people who actually uh, want details about application insights. You have to create that service offering. It may not be available directly from here. You have to create a new service offering. Yeah, see. Uh, right, right, right. So view more in application insights. So it is more of a business intelligence, I will say. It's more of a business intelligence where it gives you reporting for performance, reporting how many users have actually hit from which country, which geographical location, and also at this moment live how many people are there, is it available from various parts of the world. So it's doing like a lot of statistical analysis for your website. Like I said, it's a whole new uh, area. Right. So now you understood that web apps is such a big thing in its own. You can deploy apps, you can deploy mobile apps, you can use Java, Python, PHP, HTML, Node.js, .NET, or whatever you want. There are a whole lot of samples available as well on the Azure website. So you can deploy PHP with MySQL, or WordPress, or Node.js, or Joomla, whatever we have heard of. Connect to your DB on premise, connect to Azure VNets. So this is all limitless things that Microsoft has given here, making the web development so easy and fully managed cloud platform, not only for the websites but also for web applications, which is fully scalable. We don't have to worry about the infrastructure at all. We only have to take care of the business logic rather than focusing on the infrastructure. And the best thing is that it is also optimized for your DevOps. You can do continuous integration and deployment with Visual Studio or GitHub or Bitbucket, and it is globally available. Any questions you have for me on this one, on web apps?
No questions from me.
Sadik? Sadik, any question? Sadik? Okay. 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 Yes, when you say deployment can be done using GitHub and Bitbucket, correct? Does these include within Azure as service? No, these are third-party tools. You can go to bitbucket.com or github.com and create your own repositories there. And from there, we can pull in information. That's what it means. Bitbucket is not owned by Microsoft, or GitHub is not owned by Microsoft. Hope that answers your question. Okay. All right, cool guys. It was fun talking about all of these service offerings from um, Azure. We may have to really dig deep into it and try to understand some more concepts here. And you'll definitely come up with more questions once you do labs. Um, so as we did load balancers yesterday, we also have to talk about, what if this web app goes down? Now we have this web app is located in South Central US. If this data center goes down, what will happen to my web app? Can I have load balancer capacities there? Can we have primary, secondary load balancers or primary, secondary web apps? So just in case my one web app goes down, which is located in South Central US, can I have redirection to another web app? Or can I say, let 80% of the traffic go to South Central US, whereas another 20% I want to send it to Central India? Can we do that? Basically, I'm talking about load balancers of load balancers, which is traffic managers. So we'll talk about tomorrow in the traffic manager section.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's meet up for tomorrow for another exciting session. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye. Yeah, Rajesh, we'll talk about the scenarios tomorrow. Thank you.